What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. There's never a dull moment in the wild world of wrestling, and you can be sure Wrestlelamia only brings you the biggest stories in the industry. So join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including whether Backlash has been already taped, Triple H gets extremely emotional backstage, Charlotte Flair's controversial next goal, WWE wrestlers breaking unbroken rules, Matt Hardy shoots on WWE, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. But just before we get into that, we'd love to give a huge thank you and a shout out to our newest members to the channel. Reggie BFL Beast 2020, Joe Pendergrass, Damian Napper, Kirsty Brown Nicole, Andrea Bryson, Jay Cena, Venny 1983, and Yoshi07, thank you so much for your continued support. But now it's time to hit that intro because it's now time for the news. Our first story looks at whether Backlash has been already taped. Now, several news sites are reporting that the WWE has already taped the 14th June Backlash pay-per-view. According to Fightful, the WWE taped Backlash before NXT TakeOver in Your House, which aired live. WWE Backlash will not be live. WWE brought in Performance Center recruits this morning to film at the Performance Center for the Backlash show that runs next week. The only downside to this is for the poor NXT and Performance Center wrestlers who have to act as the audience for various shows, working long hours and reportedly getting no extra pay. Next up, Triple H, the emotional assassin. Before NXT TakeOver aired, Triple H had a chance to address the NXT locker room on the current Black Lives Matter movement, and according to Fightful.com, he was seen to be very emotional when delivering the speech, which went along the lines of, Triple H was said to have been emotional and said that he wants everyone to matter in the WWE and NXT, regardless of race, religion, orientation, language, and culture, and wants their talent to set an example for the rest of the world. Keith Lee expressed it beautifully when he put on Black Lives Matter on his attire last night. Now, some including ourselves have always had some negative opinions of Triple H in the past, one being the constant burial of talent and the questionable storyline WWE ran against him and Booker T, which may or may not have had some racial undertones, but this obviously came straight from the heart. This wasn't a WWE storyline, this was Papa H being a leader backstage, and a good leader at that. Next up, Charlotte Flair's next goal? Now, former NXT Women's Champion Charlotte Flair recently spoke with Sportskeeda's Gary Cassidy about whether she'll ever challenge for a men's championship belt, much as Tessa Blanchard sought and ultimately captured the Impact World Heavyweight Championship. She mentioned, "It's something that I want to pursue, but if you look at the big picture, when women are succeeding in different organizations all around the world, we're all succeeding and we're all winning from that, so for her to hold her accolade is just." As for Tessa herself, what does the Queen think about her? She told Cassidy, "We should support and be just extremely proud as a woman to see her do that, because when one's doing well, we're all doing well. And that is what has pretty much driven the women's revolution, is we work better in numbers. So it's not something that I think about right now, but I couldn't be more proud and happy for what she is doing for women around the world." And speaking of the women's revolution, one of WWE's top female performers wants a sequel to 2018's Evolution pay-per-view. The WWE's 2018 all-female pay-per-view Evolution was well received by fans of the WWE's Women's Revolution, which has led to fans wondering when it will return. Add wrestler Rhea Ripley to the list of people hoping for a sequel to the pay-per-view. She mentioned, "I would love to see another Evolution. I would absolutely love it. That was so much fun. Dakota Kai and I actually opened up Evolution in a dark match for the NXT Women's Championship. So being in the first match to ever come out on Evolution is insane. It's another thing in the history books for me that not many people will probably know, but I know. Another Evolution would be fantastic because we do need that stage and we need to shine the way that we should shine." Ripley said that the WWE should continue bringing in another women's title and give the WWE's large female roster more opportunities to showcase their skills. What do you guys think? Should they have another Evolution pay-per-view? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, WWE wrestlers breaking an unbroken rule. As we've noted several times, the WWE uses social media to advance storylines and tease heat between wrestlers outside the ring, even if it's all kayfabe. However, according to Dave Meltzer, the WWE has an unwritten rule that superstars are not to attack each other on social media unless it's part of an angle. However, that's not been the case with Forgotten Sons' Jackson Ryker, whose tweet of support for President Donald Trump has earned him the scorn of his fellow wrestlers. During an edition of the Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer revealed, You're really not supposed to go after guys. That was the real violation of kind of this unwritten rule. You don't go after people unless it's a worked angle, and this was very much not a worked angle, and you had his two partners, who I'm sure Steve Cutler and Wesley Blake, who I'm sure are both just like, I don't want to be painted with a brush of this moron. So they quickly said that we don't like him, and then Sami Zayn, I think his mind is in a different place, and Kevin Owens, who tries to be in his own weird way, in his own sardonic way, tries to help these guys who say stupid things. And who else? Ricochet. At least one other controversial tweet has been uncovered by Jackson Riker, who deactivated his social media accounts after his past comment came up, so it remains to be seen if the WWE will take any action against him. Next up, Matt Hardy shoots on the WWE. Matt Hardy has quickly become a top star in All Elite Wrestling, proving he still has much to offer in wrestling. Recently, Matt tweeted, "Remember when they thought they cancelled Big Money Matt because he wouldn't take that big bait? Fast forward 7 months later, I'm in an elite position to continue to grow my legacy and give back to our industry. It makes my non-believing critics so mad." The WWE missed the boat with Matt Hardy, but it's unlikely he would have done anything in the WWE, and it's possible he could have even been one of the wrestlers released on Black Wednesday. Next up, Charlotte Flair is #1 contender again? Ooh, the Charlotte Flair controversy just keeps on coming. Not only did she lose the NXT Women's Championship last night, but for some reason, even after losing the #1 contenders match on the 25th May Raw, she's now again the #1 contender for the Raw Women's Championship. WWE announced last night that Charlotte Flair will be going up against Asuka tonight on Raw. Seriously, if the WWE doesn't want to scream nepotism all the time with Charlotte Flair, perhaps they shouldn't book her in title matches every week. She's done nothing to earn this chance at the championship. And what are your thoughts on this? They've also added 2 segments on Raw. One includes an update from Rey Mysterio on his kayfabe eye injury, as well as the latest competition between the Viking Raiders and the Street Profits. This time the 2 tag teams will compete in a decathlon, a sporting event consisting of various contests. With the WWE rhetorically asking will Rey Mysterio retire, you can be sure this will be a key moment in the Rey vs Seth storyline. Next up, Dash Wilder talks attacking fan who attacked Bret Hart and Vince's reaction. The 2019 WWE Hall of Fame ceremony was marred by a man's assault on WWE Hall of Famer Bret the Hitman Hart. Anyone who saw the attack recalls a swarm of wrestlers running to Bret's defense, one of them being Cash Wheeler, who wrestled in the WWE as Dash Wilder. Wheeler, along with partner Dax Harwood, aka Scott Dawson, recently appeared on Jim Cornette's podcast and recalled what happened that night, as well as Vince McMahon's reaction. Wheeler said he punched the assailant because the dude's hand, they're not restrained. He's still threatening everybody like, let me go, let me go. I won't go into too much detail, but his hands were free. He's still making threats. He's obviously not mentally stable at this point in time. We just did what we had to do to neutralize the situation. Nonetheless, Cash's actions caught the attention of Vince McMahon, who summoned Cash to his office. Wheeler discussed what happened next. I did have a meeting with Vince McMahon, and I did have to show him the video from the multiple angles so he could see that the guy wasn't restrained. There were no cuffs, no cops, no security, just the boys and a mentally unstable guy whose hands are not being restrained at all. As soon as he saw the video and I told him kind of what like the guy had been saying, everything changed. Wheeler said Vince was completely on board with his defense of Hart, and once Vinnie Mac saw the video, he agreed Cash was justified. Next up, Shawn Michaels talks to a wrestler he wanted for NXT. With Shawn Michaels working alongside Triple H in NXT, he's had a chance to help new talent succeed, and on some occasions to bring in established wrestlers to the black and gold brand. Speaking on the bump, HBK commented, "I gotta say, I know it's not a breakout star, but I'm thrilled for Drake Maverick, and I'm glad we have him. Look, we've wanted Drake for a long time, and I'm glad we have him." Drake's return to NXT was well crafted and made for an engaging storyline. Maverick is definitely a talented worker who should excel in NXT. And finally, Eric Bischoff's opinion of Vince McMahon. Eric Bischoff is familiar with Vince McMahon, having battled him during the Monday Night War and later working for the WWE. So what's Eazy-E's opinion of Vinnie Mac? As during a chat with TalkSport's Alex McCarthy, Bischoff revealed, "I certainly admired and envied Vince's ability to manage and organize and operate his company in such an efficient way. When I say tightly controlled, I don't mean that to sound negatively. When you've got thousands of employees and you're producing content for all around the world and you're dealing with as many different moving pieces as the WWE does, to be able to have as much positive control over all of the elements that are involved in that is admirable. It exists in other corporations as well, but I got to see it firsthand in WWE, so I did envy it in a way and admire it, probably a little bit of both." But there you have it guys, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.